righty, let's get this rolling.
If that's
Welcome to morning minutes with myself,
Morning.
Michael Bergio, and Mark Novak. And this morning we're going to be talking about deposits. How big does your deposit need to buy a home? We get this. It's a topic that it may feel quite simple and standard, or common knowledge. But the amount of people I reckon we come across a day, Mark, especially first home buyers, who they go to us like, how much do I need? Do I need 40%? Do I need half? Like some of I think we need to address this once and for all. What are the figures? What do we see?
Yeah, it may be closer than you think, a house deposit. Yeah. Even if you're in a house and you own a property, you're in a unit, you own a property, you want to make the move, the deposit for the next one. Or if you're a first home buyer, deposit for the first one. Just going to have a quick chat and work around what you need.
Definitely.
What you don't need deposit-wise. Hey, what's wrong with your Instagram?
Nothing now. It was just a poor connection. We're good.
You good?
With my own. Yeah. Good morning, Naigwa. Rick. G'day, guys. And at the end of this, we will be drawing our share and win. There is a lucky winner who wins $50 cash for sharing our content on any platform. I think we should say LinkedIn, a couple of shares on LinkedIn, Facebook, and I don't think you really can on Insta. So, you could share to your story. That's okay.
You could.
So, at the end, we'll be drawing that.
Michael, who's watching on Instagram, have you got a clear vision of Michael Bergio?
Hey, Mr. Rembrandt.
Michael, Mr. Rembrandt from good old, I was going to say Warriewood Square, Ringa Mall, Westfield, legend. Just let us know, Michael, if we've got a good vision.
So what is it bad at your end?
You're still twisting. On the top, I can't see you at all.
Okay.
But I think everyone else can. So, okay.
Let's go. All right. How big does it have to be, Mark? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about maybe first home unit buyer.
Yep. So first home unit buyer at the moment, there's 7,000 grants left over. The government is going to let you buy a property if you only have a $500,000 deposit. If you only have a 5% deposit. What that actually means is if you're buying a property for 500 or 600,000, if you're buying a property for 5 or 600,000, you could only need as little as 25 grand deposit to buy a property.
Wait, let's go. So, Mark, let me, I've lost you on Insta. I think you're right, something coming on. I'm just going live again, but we're still on Facebook. So.
Okay, so while you're doing that, I'll have a chin wag. So, guys.
No, we're good. I've got you on normal audio, so just keep going, and we'll just ignore Insta.
Okay, I'm ready to do Insta again if you wish.
Yeah, I'm doing it now. Going live.
Okay, so 5% deposit for first home buyers. Now, for home buyers, just don't forget, guys, banks always like to see a 20% deposit.
I think that's where that myth comes in, Mark, of needing a 20% deposit. I think people over time have just, they get confused with what banks would like to see before you hit mortgage insurance, i.e. 20% deposit. Because, guys, if you have a 20% deposit, the banks look at it as less risk and you don't have to pay mortgage insurance. That doesn't mean you can't get a loan with less than 20% deposit. I think that's where a lot of people have gotten, you need 20%. No, that's incorrect.
And Michael, you know what else? Sometimes by the time you actually save for that 20%, the property value goes up so much more than what you've saved. So at the moment, the last quarter of last year, the market moved 5%. Now, if I was buying something for 500 grand, and I say $1 million because it's easier maths. If I was buying something for $1 million last year, the market moved $50,000 in only 12 weeks. If I'm saving a deposit, how the hell am I going to save a 50 grand in 3 months? It's impossible, So, so at the end of the day, you've got to wedge yourself in with a smaller deposit. You've got to wedge yourself in and secure that property before the prices go up. It's cheaper to pay a little bit of mortgage insurance than to wait and save the deposit because prices are going up.
Good point. Very good point. It's that's just what it is, and you've just got to take that plunge, guys. And especially when interest rates are so low, a lot of the properties are neutral, or you're putting in a little bit of money, or you're receiving positive. It's not like
Yep.
it used to be, Mark, where you almost want a really big deposit because rates are so high, and it was just going to cost you a fortune to hold a property.
Yep.
When they were 6, 7, 8%. Now it's not so. So just jumping in and so guys, there's a report out there that April this year we're going to hit the levels we were at peak market. So that's like another 5% growth just in the next few months. So sooner rather than later.
Look, I had to sit down with a buyer's agent yesterday. We were talking for about 25, 30 minutes. And, it was really, really interesting looking at their perspective of getting into the market and deposits and stuff like that, because, it's that a lot of people like, and I was talking about a friend of mine who's looking to purchase a property. So a buddy of mine's in a house and wants to go to a bigger house. And his belief is that that he doesn't, they won't have enough equity or deposit to get into the next house, and the repayments are too much. And I'm saying to him, look, if you sell your house for 1.6, 1.7, and you buy a house for $1 million more, don't worry about the deposit. As long as the bank's going to give you the money, swap out your house, get into the new house. Interest rates are so low, put a granny flat, or buy something with the new house with a granny flat, and it will cost you less than what you're presently living in at the moment. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, the granny flat there. So everyone's fixated on this deposit. But the reality is, if you can get less money working more for you because you've got a smaller deposit, that's a win-win.
And what about if you've got say $1 million, you got a 50% deposit? Would you recommend buy something for $2 million, buy 2 properties at $1 million, or just the one? Like, where that's what people would think of as what could do as well if they can service it. That would be that's the key thing about this question. Under the assumption you can service it, it would be probably better to buy. What do you reckon? 2 properties at 10%, or
pretty much anything you buy with any deposit these days is servicing itself, right? So irrelevant to what deposit you are or are not putting in, if you rent the property out, it services itself. If you're buying as an owner-occupier, it's going to be cheaper than renting. That's because rates are at this all-time low. That's where we are. So I think when you said, I always affectionately joke, always have a bit of a, in your mind, you think stuff.
Yeah.
And, there's that stuff that if you ever won the lottery, what would you do if you ever won the lottery? Like if I won $5 million, I look at that as a deposit. I don't look at that as I'm going to invest the money or pay off my mortgage.
Because I reckon, correct if I'm wrong, now a lot of people will go, $5 million, I'll go buy a house outright for $5 million. But how you would think is that's a deposit for me to buy $40 million worth of property.
Spot on. If the banks are going to give it to me, I would take it, 20 million, whatever it is. But, I think that deposit, and you've got to look at it this way, guys, that deposit is when you add, and this is the way it's different to anything else, particularly stocks and stuff. When you have a deposit of 5%, you have got 100% of the value going up.
Yeah.
So you're only putting 5, 10, 15%, but you're enjoying the capital growth of the entire amount.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So technically, if you're enjoying 100% of the value of going up, you really actually wouldn't be bad putting 0 deposit in, or 1%, right? What you're not really that much of a hero for putting 70% in deposit for it to go up 100% in value. You know what I mean?
I do.
To get your cash in hand working for you, it's better to put lesser deposit in.
And Mark, just regarding that deposit and working it out, how about when we ran that exercise the other day about a first home buyer and on a wage of 60,000? One thing that just was very surprising, and the power of your wage and income, which may influence your deposit, is when we ran those numbers, Mark, going, all right, based on that 60K, rule of thumb is you can borrow 300,000. You can borrow 300,000. Normally times 6 is what in the broker world they say times 60 your wage is what you can borrow. Now, I found to buy something in Northern Beaches for $650, I found it incredible that you had the option where to buy a loan for $650. Basically, you would have to have a deposit of almost 50%,
Yep.
or you can increase your wage by 15 grand a year. When I saw those numbers, especially when there's people out there who have flexibility where their dad may own a company or they've got a friend who has a company that can basically pay them a wage from it.
If you get a part-time job,
having a part-time job. So basically, having a part-time job, earning an extra $15,000 a year is more important, can almost be more important than having 100 grand cash.
Good point. Really good
point.
And
it only just clicked then. I was like, that's it's true, but wow. Part-time job, more important, 100 G's.
And that's why it's important talking to your broker as early as possible. If you can talk to your broker 6 months before you want to buy, it's actually really clever because you may need to shape your deposit or your earnings or a part-time job or something early. So, when it comes to deposits, when it comes to buying a property, again, it goes back to having heaps of information at hand,
yes,
and having a broker and getting started early with your plan and having a broker starting to work through your stuff. Because, I know even internally, Michael, with staff in our office, whenever we're trying to help them to get into properties, it's almost like such a thing to start talking to a broker. It's we'll save that off to later. But I would go car shopping if I wanted to buy a car, and I would go car shopping prematurely, and I would use that to give me incentive. I would use that to prepare, and then 6, 12, 18 months I would buy what I want to buy. So I think it's the same with property, and it's the same with deposits. Go shopping, talk to your broker before you've even got the deposit. Talk to you, go look at what you want to buy before you've got the deposit, and it will inspire you and push you along.
Yeah, and moral of the story is, and just a quick one, between investment and home loan, like you may look at doing larger deposits on your investment property because your interest rates are higher rather than on your principal property. Many things there. But we've sort of, anything else you want to add to that, Mark? Or
no, we're good. I want to give give away our $50 share. So anyone who's sharing their posts or commenting shares or likes on our posts, I think particularly shares going to the draw.
We thank you for the likes.
We've done thank you for them. But it does help your buddies and chums, these topics. So if you do share, it can help people around you. We had lots of shares. And who's the winner? We've got a broker that shared our information.
You've got I can't open it on my screen because I've got both live. Do you have it? Unless I ended on Insta.
Here we go. I'm in. Okay, you ready? The winner is today for the $50 is, here we go, Funding Zone, Finance and Real Estate. On their share. Thank you very much for your support. That's the giveaway. We're going to get that out to you. Again, we're going to do this next week. Have a great day. You got Cash. Have a great day today, man.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for watching. Back Monday. Enjoy your weekend.
Hope we helped you guys. See ya.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Bye.